Okay, so hello Sail in Finland viewers. Welcome to this next episode in my series on 8-meter yachts leading up to the 8-meter World Cup in Turku. So today I will be looking at maintenance work on 8 meters. And with me I have a rather recent 8-meter sailor, Petri Wilska. So welcome.
Thank you.
We are in a boat now called Windy. So can you give a small overview of how you came to own Windy and you know the recent history of Windy?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Håkan. Yeah, so we heard about Windy about 3 years ago and learned that it has been here in Oritsaari for almost 10 years or so, has not been sailed and has been taken care of by one of the greatest craftsmen in this business. So Mika Louhivaara, who unfortunately passed away recently, but he had done everything under the waterline, so everything is kind of new there.
Yeah.
And we learned that there is the World Cup coming in a couple of years, and there is a boat which might be for sale. So we contacted the current owner, then Jyrki Halonen, and finally made a decision to buy it.
So you bought it in 22?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so you've been now out on the water for 2 seasons, kind of. Well,
1.5 maybe.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So in what condition, did you get Windy? So okay, the bottom parts were in very good condition, but
yes,
there was perhaps a little bit more to do.
Yeah. Let's say mainly there was no mast. They had lost the mast, I think, on a transfer sale from a competition or maybe one of the regattas in Helsinki. The mast broke and the new sails went down with the mast. And after that, it hadn't been sailed until we built a new mast out of I think end of 60s or 70s Proctor aluminium mast.
Okay.
Put it together and used some help for the rigging from real professionals.
Okay. So if we go through a little bit like the early maintenance history now then, so in 22, okay, so you needed to fix the mast. Was there something else that major that you did on Windy in 22?
Not really major, I would say. Basic work actually.
Yeah.
Sanding, varnish, lacquer, winches, of course, they hadn't been used, so we had to take them apart and do the maintenance there. And painting, of course.
So I mean, from the kind of the maintenance perspective, you're still kind of an amateur group, but I guess both you and some of the other owners, you already had a little bit of history in wooden boat maintenance.
Yes, we do. I think the owners, we still own about maybe 5 or 6 wooden boats outside of Windy. So we have sailed, I think, pretty much all the keel classes, the classic boats, let's say smaller than the 8.
Yeah.
So we own a few high boats, which is the Finnish One Design boat, an A boat, and a few others. So we've been doing, all of us who own the boat, we have been doing wooden boat maintenance. Some from I would say from the end of 60s or early 70s. We have one great sailor with us who has been sailing for a long time. We've been fairly active for, let's say, 15 to 40 years, depending on which one of us talk about.
Yeah. So okay, I mean in Finland we have this thing called winter. So all the boats are put on the shore for the winter. So if we think about now the maintenance work now for like this winter, so how much work have you put into Windy now in this sort of winter season before it goes into the water?
Yeah, I think last autumn we sanded and painted the the hull, and it took altogether the end of season maintenance took maybe 2 weeks worth of work.
Okay.
And now we've sanded and we'll be putting the lacquer on all of the wooden parts except the deck, which is
Yeah, the teak deck. Yeah.
the teak deck will
Right.
remain like that. So now we've maybe put, after we're done, another 2 weeks.
Okay, so it still sounds like it's doable even
Yeah.
if you have a work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In the first video, John was talking about like amateurs doing the sailing, but it seems that once you have the kind of the basic hull in good shape, it's also possible for an amateur group to also do the maintenance.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. That's definitely so. Of course, if there's bigger work to be done, then we have one guy who actually has been doing a lot of more demanding work as well. But here in Oritsaari we also have some at least semi, if not professional people who you can order some work if needed.
If needed,
But
yeah.
we haven't needed outside of the rig anything.
Right. Okay, but hey, that's interesting. So next, so let's do a little bit of a walk around and look at some of the details.
Yeah.
But now we're in the cockpit. So anything special that you've done here?
Well, outside of the normal maintenance work, we've taken the winches apart, and then the traveler, there we will be replacing the ropes and doing some fixing so the traveler will travel more easily.
But all the hardware is still more or less you haven't needed to change any of that. It turned out that it worked.
Yeah, everything worked, the piano and the winches and everything worked very well. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're up on deck, and windows and hatches typically tend to be the places where you have leaks. So what's the situation on windy?
Yes, correct. And that's how it was here as well. So we've taken out the windows and ordered new ones, glass windows, and we'll be putting them together, and then also the windows on the hatches were leaking, so they've been replaced and sealed, so we shouldn't get any water when moving the boat from a regatta to another and sleeping in the rain like we did last year.
Interesting place here where you work. So tell me a little bit about the structure here around Windy.
Yeah, so we have a small tent, and as you can see, we don't have a standing height here, so we have to crawl a lot, and of course it's good to take a check every now and then if you're still flexible enough to sail next season. But we have this tent for the boat, and all the equipment is kept here, and it's a good place to work. Of course, during the winter without any warming, we have a small heater, but you have to dress up to or work really hard to keep your temperature.
Okay, so now we're looking at the side of the hull, and it looks pretty nice. So what have you been doing here?
Yeah, so last autumn we painted the hull, and now we've taped it for the Scandeck lacquer and work, and then also the speed stripe or whatever it's called. So I'll be sanding this, or just taking some paint off there, and then we'll put the golden stripe on.
So tell us a secret. So is the golden stripe, is it real gold or is it just paint?
It will be just paint for us. Of course, there are boats with real gold, but I think we'll do with the paint.
Okay, so that's not a reason to steal the boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're here under the boat. So what has happened and what is going to happen here?
Yeah, so we'll actually changed the color of this, and then there's a little problem. I think I mentioned it previously with the lead part of the keel, so we need to fix that. It has been worked on at some point of time. We don't know why, but it seems to the paint seems to peel off, and so we'll fix that somehow.
So now we're at the back of the boat, so something to be done here?
Yeah, so we need to take out the rudder. There's something a bit loose there, so we need to take it out and find out where the problem is, which we don't know yet. So, and because the height of the tent, we probably can't pull up the tiller with the rod, so we'll have to undo the hinges here and take it off and take a look at it. If you're interested in owning or partly owning a boat and want to do the maintenance yourself, it's not much more different than taking care of a smaller boat. Just takes a little bit more time, a lot more area to sand and paint, but it can be done, and it's nice work, and you can always ask the professionals and the guys who and the girls who know everything. They will always help you. It's a community where you don't have to do without knowing or without asking others.
You know, if you're interested in 8 meters and you're looking forward, like us, to the 8 meter world class, then perhaps give the channel a follow. There's going to be some more interesting videos on 9 meters, on 8 meters here coming up. So see you back.